We're gathered here together at La Casa de Spa, and we just saw a fascinating documentary on Mirko Beljanski and the important work that he did. He's been called the father of environmental medicine. I found out tonight from the video, the documentary. And I find it interesting that he was working at the Pasteur Institute. That's where most of his research was done, because Pasteur, of course, was the person that promoted the germ theory, and he disagreed with his guy, Claude Bernard, who was alive at the same time, and Claude Bernard kept saying, no, it's about the inner terrain, it's the host resistance, and then when Pasteur was on his deathbed, I know this is a commonly known story, but when Pasteur was on his deathbed, and my French accent is going to leave something to be desired, but Pasteur said, "Ce terrain est rien," the terrain is nothing, it's all about the host. And so what I find so fascinating about what we've seen here today is that Beljanski actually agreed with what Pasteur was saying all along, that the environment does matter. It's not just about host resistance. And I think that what's interesting is that it's so much got to be about both, because in today's day and age, there's so many environmental toxins, and it just is overloading what would be our natural host resistance. And yes, ideally, we should be able to overcome environmental stimuli that cause us to be sick, like germs, the germ that Pasteur was talking about. But we've lost the ability because we're just being overwhelmed. So with that said, I would like to introduce Sylvie, who is the daughter of Mirko Beljanski, who has carried on his work. And Sylvie, I have a question for you immediately, which is, the documentary was so fascinating. Is this available online?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm going to turn the floor over to you now.
And thank you so much, Jane, for so graciously making this happen, this viewing. The movie, for those who do not have, the luck to be able here to join La Casa de Spa at Jane Goldsberg Spa in New York. The movie is available online on the YouTube channel of the Beljanski Foundation. So if you go to the Beljanski Foundation, you will find a link to see this movie, and also a small trailer of a few seconds to give you just a flavor of the movie. But the movie in total is 23 minutes, and I think that for the entire 50 years of research, plus the fascinating life of my father, plus 15 years of research since the passing of my father, we condensated a lot.
And your father did die of cancer.
Indeed, indeed. My mother and I, we do believe that my father was radiated as part of the visit of the SWAT team at the end of his life, when they raided the laboratory. He started an acute myeloid leukemia within weeks after this visit, when before that he was a strong, healthy man. And also what may sound strange is that the judge who was in charge of the case did not investigate. Maybe he knew that my father was sick, and was expected that he was going to pass away. So a lot of circumstantial evidence, if we don't have any hard proof evidence.
But one of the points in the documentary was that because he had been arrested and his products were confiscated, he himself did not benefit from his own discoveries.
Yes, that's
what's
really
so tragic.
Yes, yes, yes. I did my best to create the product and to send him as soon as I could, but that was already late in the process. But that, I believe, helped him to survive 2 years, gave him the time to provide me with everything I needed to know to manufacture the products and to test them properly. And this now is going to be 20 years next year, and the way the products are manufactured has not changed.
So is there anything else that you would like to say? Should I open up the floor to questions?
I'll be delighted to take questions. Thank you.
One of the questions I have is, around the world, how many people actually have taken the product? In other words, what's like a general idea in terms of people using it over what length of time? Like the people who,
It's
difficult. Like what's the result in terms of the product being out there?
It's difficult.
And that's a big question.
To tell you exactly how many people have taken the products. I mean, some have taken, just for a few weeks, a few months. Some have placed orders at already a very late stage. Some have taken the products for years and then have stopped because they were completely cancer-free. I would say since my father created them, probably we are speaking of several tens of thousands of people around the world. And the number of testimonials that we have is very limited compared to this huge number of people, but it's still significant. I mean, we do have, we have received a significant number of testimonials, both in French and in English, that are quite amazing, because people don't volunteer generally.
If you're doing well, you don't talk about it.
Yes.
Once you're doing well, you move on.
But there is, in France, there is something called a picnic. It's a gathering once a year, and it has been over 20 years now, of people who have been taking the products, who gather once a year in the south of France and share their experience. And for those who have been already using the products for a long time, they come to explain to newcomers, and with all the anxiety and of the, the recent diagnostic, what to expect, and to give them hope. And that's absolutely beautiful. Could not, had no time for that in this short 23 movie. But the book, for example, Morten Walker's book, Cancer Cause, Cancer Cure, and the other book, which is available somewhere here, Extraordinary Healing, mention this picnic. And it's absolutely an extraordinary event. You have about like 400 people, 400 to 500 people coming the first weekend of September, just to share their experience about the Beljanski products.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Yes.
What could you say about the number of physicians, holistic people, practitioners who are using these products right now? How extensive is it, and would you say that it's growing? I would think that it would be.
Yes, in France, where my father had established a very good relationship with a number of doctors. I mean, there is still several hundreds of doctors who have included those products into their regular practice. And in the world, I mean, this is growing, as you can see in the movie. I mean, we have some American doctors, some Serbian doctors who say that they are using those products. So, I mean, they have good results. The other doctors want to have similar results, and that's how it's going.
Are there any naturopathic doctors or medical doctors in the New York area that recommend or incorporate it in their therapies?
Well, you have seen Dr. Michael Schachter,
Yes.
he was speaking in the movie about his experience. He was the first American doctor who used the products and then to share his experience with other American MDs. So yes, since Dr. Michael Schachter, the number has grown, there are a few doctors in the New York area. I don't have the name like that top of my head, but if you contact the office, we'll
Yes,
give
and
you the name.
you had an interview with Dr. Aaron Katz, who at
Yes.
that time was at Columbia. He was my doctor, and I'm surprised that because he's interested in alternative medicine also, that he never mentioned that as part of my therapy.
Well, he was conducting also a small clinical trial for men with elevated PSA and negative biopsy. And maybe you did not fit this exact profile, so he was really looking to enlist people with that profile. So maybe
Right.
that's why
Nice.
he was working with a lot of different herbs at the time and trying to enlist patients for different clinical trials that maybe chose to speak to you about something.
Yes, yes. Have you ever contacted a naturopathic doctor by the name of Gio Espinosa?
Yes, I do know very well Giovanni Espinosa.
Because he's my naturopathic doctor.
Yes, he's at NYU now,
Yes.
Langone.
Right.
And he's actually the naturopathic doctor
Yes.
who helped with the recruitment of the clinical trial.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Interesting. I will definitely come to see you.
I have a question about for people who are more on the preventative end of things, who don't have cancer, but I have a lot of clients who are just looking to prevent ever getting cancer. And I know you had some products you mentioned about cleansing, and I wondered if any of the original products are appropriate to take before to prevent cancer, or is it really, because we all have cancer cells all the time, it's just the ones that super proliferate that become a big problem, but your immune system generally is trying to eliminate them on a daily basis. But I wondered if on a preventative basis what the products or protocols here.
Look, I am not a doctor, and I really cannot answer any medical question about, make a link between products and disease and therapy and prognosis. But that said, at the level of the research that has been done, we have publications that show the effectiveness of some of those compounds at the level of precancerous, like BPH, a negative biopsy, but already elevated PSA, and that goes also to the publications that we had for advanced, for cells which are so advanced that they have become resistant to chemotherapy. So we cover the full spectrum according to the research, and if you listen at the testimonial of the people who come at this picnic, at this gathering every year, I mean, we hear stories from absolutely people coming also from all spectrum, people who have just been diagnosed, people who are in the middle of a treatment and are looking to alleviate the side effects, people who have finished their treatment but are afraid to see a cancer come back. I mean, we see everything. We see people who, just are doing well, but have an history in their family of running a lot of cancer and want to know if there is anything they can do to avoid the risk.
I think that's the key question. Can you take it if someone is their whole family is being hit on all sides with cancer. Can they take the supplement as a supplement? Because it does no harm to healthy cells.
You can
take it as a supplement?
always take supplements. I mean, is it an answer, absolute answer to a guarantee? No, there is no guarantee. No, a supplement is not a guarantee. There is a lot of pollution in our environment. There is a lot of reasons for which we get cancer. We eat poorly, we drink polluted water, we breathe an air which is not what we used to know, not healthy anymore. We have stress, so we are surrounded with, sometimes negativity of people around us, all that, I mean, at different levels, can trigger a destabilization of the DNA. And I mean, what you can do is try to avoid, minimize as many as possible of those factors and make on a daily basis choices which are the right choices, which is choices which are at the level of what you eat, of the people you choose to live with or to get rid of, and the products that you use in the morning when in your bathroom, and the supplements that you are taking. All that can is kind of vicious cycle or positive cycle.
It's not by itself. You would use it as a whole. If someone was saying, well, I have cancer in my mother, my sister, my cousin, my uncle, and if you're saying, well, here are these products that can stabilize the DNA and stop the cancer from destabilizing the DNA, but it's not in itself. It has to be part of a holistic program to say, I'm preventing it on a number of levels. It's not one thing.
In my experience, what I have seen is that sometimes those products, if they are just used by themselves, they can help you bide some time, but you have to do the work.
So the issue of destabilization of DNA, I've actually not heard that phrase used before. So I recently discovered a test that's not well known. Of course, we know the BRCA test, but this is another test that it's called the KRAS, K-R-A-S, and it actually tells you whether you have a genetic predisposition for not just breast cancer, but breast, ovarian, and lung cancer. And this KRAS mutation is present in 25% of the people. So we do have good, thus far, pretty good indicators of where our genes are. So am I right in understanding that we may have a genetic mutation, and that doesn't necessarily mean that what the term that you're using, that having the genetic mutation means that there's going to be a destabilization of the DNA. So in other words, though we may have a genetic predisposition, if we live a lifestyle that is protective, that gene is never going to be destabilized, or that DNA is never going to be destabilized, that will lead to cancer.
Yeah, our genes, I mean, there is the whole body of science now showing that our genes can be either activated or silenced by a number of things that trigger the pull either one way or another. And our environment is definitely one of the things that can pull the trigger to activating the gene if it is a bad environment. On the other hand, if we are taking on a daily basis good thing for our system, we can keep those genes silenced for a lifetime. So it's not, I mean, it doesn't mean that you are going to have, you know, the disease at 40 or something like that because you have a mutation. It still have to be activated.
Yeah. Genes are not our biological destiny.
No, it's a mix. It's a mix of exactly what, as you started with that, you know, there is the terrain and there is the environment, and it's a mix. Just like we are, you know, we are our genes and we are our education, and it's everything that make who we are.
Yeah.
And it's it's the same thing at every level. It's a mix of what we are born with and of the choices that we make on a daily basis. And we have to take responsibility. We just cannot say, it's my genes. and no, we can't.
I thank you for creating a line of face and body care products that won't kill us.
It's needed, unfortunately it's needed, because there are a lot of bad things out there.
And I've been using the products that you gave me, and I love them.
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Alex, you have a question.
Well, my question is, I've been working with Sylvie for a good 10 years, so I'm pretty familiar with the story, pretty familiar with the products, I'm pretty familiar with the potential of the message that Sylvie carries around with her. So I guess the question is, what do you see the potential in bringing this work to this country? I know it's much more popular in Paris and in France, but how is America reacting and accepting this message?
America is busy. It's a busy country where receiving something new, different, which is not mass a mass movement. Marketed. I mean, yes, an idea which is mass marketed, it's difficult. You are like one single voice somewhere and not necessarily heard. But I think because the message is backed now with a body of very good American science, little by little we are making progress, and there are people like you and like Jane who are giving me the podium, the opportunity to be heard, and that's new. I mean, that's relatively new, and that's absolutely wonderful. And thanks to people like you, I mean, it looks like everything is possible.
I think it is.
I want to say that it's clear that Mirko Beljanski was a remarkable man. And your mother seems to be quite a wonderful woman. And between the two of them, I think they created a very remarkable woman in you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvie, for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.